Hey guys, thank you, hi there, and welcome back to Muppet Fans Talking. I'm your host, Marcelo Vazzaro, and today, with another brand new episode, sitting here with some friends of mine talking about the Muppets, artwork, so on and so forth. Today, I have here with me some dear friends of mine on Instagram within the puppet community. I have Matt Bingel, Alix,
How you doing, folks?
and Olivia M. How are you guys?
Hello. Hi. Doing great. How you doing?
I'm doing good. So, all three of you guys, thanks so much for joining me today on Muppet Fans Talking.
Thank you for having us.
me on. Yeah.
Right on. So, just starting off the bat, what are you guys currently working on right now? Like any videos or artwork, something like that?
Wait, who starts?
You know what? That's a good question. Let's start with Alix. Alix, what are you working on right now?
Yeah, well, I don't think I really have much planned. I'm still hoping to make, more TikTok videos with my puppets. Still hoping to make, more artwork, any more, Fluffy Friends artwork, or just any artwork in general, but hopefully more, into, more puppetry art.
Nice. Olivia, what do you got planned?
So basically right now I'm just sort of trying to get my everything off the ground right now. I'm going to start a little series of things for my characters very soon. I have one more character that needs to be added to my crew before I can do that, but then once he is added, we can get things off the road. And also during the summer, I think I might actually be making some fan-made music videos for specific songs correlating around my characters and me.
Nice. Awesome. Looking forward to that. And of course, Mr. Bingle, what have you got planned?
I am currently working on some short films. I'm hoping to get those out soon with my two main characters back here, Julius and Marty Monster. Other than that, I don't really know. I'm still doing my Instagram show and all that stuff. But in terms of main puppet work, I think the short films is kind of the direction I'm going at right now.
Nice.
So there'll be a lot of short films coming out soon.
All right, and in terms of upcoming artwork pieces, videos, and series, we're definitely gonna get more to talking about those things a little later in the show. But going all the way back, as I do with all of my guests, going all the way back to the very beginning, seeing as though this is Muppet Fans Talking. What was your guys' very first encounter seeing the Muppets, or having knowledge of the Muppets? So Alix, we'll start with you.
For me, I think when I was born, I didn't get really into Muppets at first, but then when I was 2, the first Muppet-related show that I got into was Band of Big Blue House. Now, it sounds odd because I think most people might say Sesame Street, but mine was actually there. And then I got into Sesame Street. And then I think when I was 7, I got into the Muppet Show. And then I got into all these other Muppet-related shows, and that made me became a real Muppet fan.
Nice. Matt?
For me, it's kind of a little more odd. I started out with, in terms of puppet related, mine's a little out there. I actually started with puppetry with an old Nick Jr. show called Blues Room. This was back when it was the VHS series before it was actually a TV series. But I didn't know anything about puppets at the time because I was very young. But later on, I figured that out, and then it was Bear and Sesame Street for me, maybe about a year or 2 later. So Blues Room's where it really started for me, honestly.
Awesome. Olivia, how about you?
In terms of just puppetry things in general, the things that got me into the Muppet Show in the beginning were Sesame Street and Johnny and the Sprites. Those two really got me into it. And then after a while, I figured out about the Muppet Show because my teacher, when I was really, really young, she did all of the musical things and such. She made us watch the Muppet movie, and it was kind of annoying because she would pause every 4 seconds. But now I think back on it, and I think just a cute little old lady fangirling about Kermit riding on a bike. And then after that, I saw a YouTube clip of the scene of the Muppet Show with Fozzie and Ralph playing the piano, and then I really, really heavily got into the Muppets after that. So that's sort of where I came from, the whole experience.
Nice. So in terms of that, all of you guys sort of, found your way to knowing about the Muppets in one way or another, and also in terms of puppetry, you guys pretty much figured that out, not just with the Muppets, but from other shows that included this style of Henson puppetry, which is which is really, really cool. I mean, for many of us, myself included, growing up, my mother would just put on Sesame Street, but the one that actually got me into it, and I never shared this on any other episode of the podcast, it was Muppet Classic Theater.
Oh, really? I own that as a VHS.
I do too.
Yeah. So I knew about Sesame Street because Big Bird and Elmo, Cookie Monster, they were toys and stuff. But I also knew them from the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. So it was pretty cool seeing those characters on TV, and then you can actually see them out in the open. So that was my first exposure to the Muppets. But my very first encounter with that, in terms of talking about Kermit, Miss Piggy, Fozzie, Gonzo, it was Muppet Classic Theater. And from there, I pretty much learned about all the other Henson related stuff that were involved with the Muppets, as well as Jim and Frank, Jerry, Dave, Steve, Richard, Carol, Noel, McNeil, just the core group of performers that worked with Jim, and those that had the chance to work with some of those other iconic performers that we all know. So moving on along with the show, because we're gonna keep moving right along here. Let me just look through my little checklist here. I got a checklist here, folks. So whenever we
gained a notebook.
Yep, because usually, and this is happening right now. Usually, whenever I interview my friends on the show, I sometimes stick to the questions, but oftentimes, they share little stories and memories, and also just little things that the Muppets really helped out with a lot of people. Whether through good times, bad times, times where you just needed a laugh. So,
Understood. Yeah,
absolutely.
So there's no editing, there's no hold bars on this. It's unedited as far as all the other podcast episodes go.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yep. So, oh yeah, I already asked that. Yep, I asked that too. Okay, this one I did not ask, as we're now getting back on schedule. So, trying to get professional here. So, in terms of, I can't do it. So knowing how much you guys, discovered the Muppets, as well as the traditional style of puppetry, how did you guys get started doing that style of puppetry? Olivia, we'll start with you.
So I had always been inspired by puppetry in general. I had always wanted a puppet in general ever since I was really little. When I was really young, we had a festival in our area that celebrates the founding of our city, and so when we go to that festival every year, they always got little little stands and areas where they're selling things. One of the women was selling marionettes, and I got this little blue bird marionette, and I, like, fell in love with it. I'm like, yes, this is my thing. And then the strings tangle, and I'm like, oh, I guess this isn't my thing. And then, like, years later, I've been into puppetry just as, like, watching it for, like, 3 years. But then, like, something last year during the springtime just kicked in to the point where I was like, yep, I want it. I want that. So then I was like, the Henson Style is the most, in my opinion, it's the most character-bounding, like, friendly type of puppet, in my opinion. Of course, that's all up to the performer and what the performer can do with the character that makes it that much more special. But in my opinion, the designs of the Henson Style puppets are the designs that really stand out and get people intrigued and into their character. And so that is the one that I wanted to make. And that is what I ended up building and buying, and then until I've got my little crew.
Nice. And one of them, from what I remember, your first one was a blue monster. It was a blue monster character named Mia. Yeah. And for those of you that look up Olivia's Instagram account and you see a blue monster on there, no, it is not a cat. Those are horns. I have to put that out there. Because the first time I saw it, 2% of my head went, is that a cat? Nope, those are horns. Never mind.
I have to tell you, today I was talking to, for the people who don't know, I was talking to our good friend Hannah, or Ergie's buddies, today on a video call, and we were talking about, like, our characters, and she said something about her, and she said, something, monster horns. And I literally put my hands up, walked out of the room, inhaled, exhaled, then came back with my hands in the prayer position right up to my mouth like this. And she was laughing, but she was like, that's what they are, aren't they? They're monster horns, right? I don't understand why people can't see that they're pigtails.
Maybe that's why I almost thought when I first saw Mia, that's why I almost thought, wait, is that a cat? Wait, no, that's a monster. Well, wait, why does she have fluffy pink horns? Oh, wait, those are pigtails. Okay, never mind.
It's supposed to look, I guess the entire catch is, she was kind of right, because her horns are supposed to, like, her pigtails are supposed to be shaped like horns, so it's like a joke, like, she's got little pigtails up to look like monster horns, but they're pigtails, and you can tell by the little bang that she has right in the front of her head.
Right. So
anyways, we got on a weird topic about my character's character design anyways.
Well, that's the whole purpose of the show. We either stay on topic or we just derail and then we just come right back. So, moving right along, Alix, how did you first get started into doing puppetry?
I think I started like watching all the Muppet stuff, but I think ever since like YouTube appeared, I've been seeing like there's like internet puppeteers, and I think the first internet puppeteer that I discovered was David Cleason. And I figured, because I started watching their videos. I've been watching videos a lot when I was young, and that was before Floating Bears, by the way. But
right.
Anyway, I'm sorry, I cannot stop talking. But anyway,
that's okay.
Because I remember, because I've been a follower of theirs for so long. Oh my God, what am I saying? When I've been watching David Cleason's videos, I figured, hey, the puppeteering looks like fun. I figured I'd try that. And for some reason, I started getting to oh my God. Once I started puppeteering, I was like really good doing the symbols, because I was like watching how the puppeteers performed the puppets. So that's pretty much how I got started.
Right, nice. And that's also a pretty fun way, on starting that out, on your own. That's which isn't like watching like any behind the scenes videos of Henson or Frank Oz performing. You could just look up any random person on YouTube. You see that they're actually doing puppet videos, and you think to yourself, oh yeah, maybe I could try that. So that's pretty much how a lot of it gets started. Matt, how about you, buddy?
Well, puppetry's been something I've wanted to do for a number of years. I've always had a fascination with puppetry and how it works and how it brings people joy, because that's pretty much always been kind of my purpose, I guess you could say. Just making people happy. That's always been what I've wanted to do. And I think puppetry is a fantastic way of doing it. It's always fascinated me. And I thought to myself last year, like, you know what? Should I really do this? And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, let's do it. And it's where I am today. And I definitely feel it's something I definitely feel proud about, because you know it's amazing. I love entertaining people with my characters, and it's always a blast doing it. And it always brings me so much joy, as much as it brings joy to my audience.
That's
it's
right.
rewarding, isn't it, to see how happy people get?
Very
especially,
rewarding, yes.
Yeah, like, especially, like, when people get to see those characters and, like, they immediately light up, or, like, they recognize them from something that you've been in, or they find them funny or something, and you think, yes, my performance seems to be inflicting the response that is customary for puppetry. I'm getting somewhere. This is exactly what I want. Yes!
Yes.
That feeling.
No, that's very true, and also, and this is something I I actually mentioned with Martin P. Robinson when I met him at a workshop years ago, and what he says is very true. It's that, you know, along with doing this style of puppetry, it's not just, you know, a nicely made puppet, a silly voice and technique. Along with everything that goes with that, the audience that sees it, they actually see the soul of the performer that's bringing all these characters to life. And I held on to that for so long, and it's really helped me out with a number of my characters, because yes, I could do all these different voices. Yes, I have technique. Yes, you know, they're all nicely made puppets that I built or bought. It's you're tending to see my soul as a performer, as well as you guys, everybody seeing your souls as you're all performing your characters and creating your characters and watching them change and grow. That's also the main thing.
It's one of my favorite things about puppetry, man, is because when you make a character, you'll want them to act a certain way or do something, but then the more that you grow them and develop them, you realize, wow, this character is just an aspect of me. And you can really put your soul and your passion into that character more once you can relate to them, and you can do it so well that other people can relate to them. It's one of my favorite parts about performing a character.
Exactly. Like, you know, I'll share this one. I was working on a sea shanty video with a whole number of my characters, and I wanted to add James in there. James, he's, for the audience, for people listening, James, he's one of my original puppets that I made. He's sort of like a lavender, it's sort of like a lavender abstract from Sam and Friends, I would say. Yeah. So anyway, and I wanted to add James in there, but instead of him lip syncing along, you know, he's like so upset. He's like really annoyed, and he doesn't want to do it. And I thought to myself, you know what? You know what? Some of these characters have something they like. James, I can finally add something that James doesn't like. And I come to the conclusion, James does not like sea shanties. Yeah, James.
How dare you, James?
Yeah, James.
Sea shanties are awesome!
Yeah, James does not like sea shanties. Whenever you're hearing Drunken Sailor, John, whatever it is, Nelson's Blood, or Keep Haulin', which, you know, these are all songs from a group that I know, but that's for another time. Anyway, James really does not like sea shanties, and the rest of my characters, they love it. They love lip syncing to it.
Don't show James that one scene in the Muppet Show, you know, that one part where they're singing that one song and they're pretending to be sailors. Don't show him that scene in the Muppet Show.
He has seen it, and he does not like it at all.
That one? No.
No.
Okay, I'll link it to you.
Although that is It's a really good one, though. It's one of my favorites.
Oh, okay.
He does not like Treasure Island, I will say that, and he does not like the novel.
How dare he? I am glad he went into retirement. Good riddance.
Wow, man.
I heard that. Anyway.
Oh, no.
So, going on about character development, and also creating your characters, which, a number of you guys have created so many amazing characters from just after connecting with so many other amazing performers, builders, voice actors, as actors in general when it comes to puppetry. Matt, I'm gonna start with you because because your characters, Marty Monster and Julius, they they have a certain charm, even though for Marty, and please forgive me for saying this, even though Marty is store-bought, how did you? But from him being a basic store-bought puppet, how did you come up with his character? And for Alix and Olivia, I'll get to you guys on how you guys created your characters. But Matt, how did you come about creating Marty Monster?
Well, I kind of wanted to incorporate a little bit of me into him. Like, a little bit of my personality goes into his personality. Like, he's always full of energy. He loves meeting people. And I love meeting people, too. I think that's wonderful. Just meeting people all over the world and getting to interact. And that's what really... That's how Marty Monster kind of got created. It's a little bit of me, even though it is store-bought. It is, it's a little bit of me. And sure, I don't own, for those who don't know the store-bought ones, you don't own the rights to the puppet itself. But you do own the rights to the character development, not necessarily the puppet itself, just for those wondering. And it really brings a lot of me out when I'm performing Marty Monster. It's kind of me, but in monster form, I guess is the best way to put it. But yeah, that's pretty much how I developed Marty Monster. I wanted to kind of develop the character first before I got into like a voice for him, which is almost kind of exactly like mine, but like a little tweaking here and there. But really, Marty's just a little mini me, I guess. That's the best way to put it.
A Matt Bingel monster is basically how Marty Monster came to be, right?
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much. Yeah.
Which for the record, let me just state this. Even though I said yes, even though Matt's character puppet is store-bought, I have nothing against...
Don't say the yes word.
I have nothing against it. I have nothing against it. I think it's a really fun way for people to experiment puppetry with those kind of puppets that you would buy in a store.
Yeah.
Just off topic for
my first one. So.
Yeah, but just going off topic for just 1 second. And maybe it's just me. I don't really think those kind of puppets would be of good use when it comes to like professional video shoot or video content.
They're a good way to start out, kind of like another puppeteer that we all know, Chris Palmieri. He started out with one of these like over a decade ago. It's a good way to start out, but I don't think it'll really like work in the long run, because again, rights and stuff like that, it's not really gonna work out. But it's definitely a good way to start out. Like, maybe, sure, he might last you a few years, but nothing like long term. Like Marty here, he probably won't be used in, let's say, like a motion picture or something like that.
Exactly.
Again, rights and whatnot. But it's definitely a good way to start out. Oh,
The good news about those, the good news about the store-bought ones is that if you don't have your hands on a way to commission something or to make something yourself just yet, the good news is that you can always start with that and develop the character until you get attached. And the good news about that is that if you aren't attached to the character, it's just a store-bought thing. You don't really need to progress on it if you don't want to. But after you develop the character, if you really do want to get serious about something, you can always just build it yourself or get it commissioned or buy one that is professionally made that is similar but not exactly the same. And you can always then get into all the professional stuff, and like that entire world is just opened up to you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's just me. But going back on topic. So, we'll go, and now we will go with Alix. So, of course, there's one popular character that you perform on Instagram, which we all know she lives in a land of rocks called Fraggle Rock. But you also have some other characters on your page that you've created and developed. So how did you go about with that?
Yeah, pretty much most of my puppets were unfortunately bought, but some were pretty much original, but most of them I don't use, but some I do. But for Red, even though she's not an original kid, but sometimes I try to use her, and sometimes I put my own spin on her, even though she already has a personality in the show. And my red brush is not really good, and sadly I'm not caring for Elle. But I'm pretty depressing. But again, I like to put my own spin on Red, even though I try to get more personality about Red's personality. But for Terrence, I have for some reason last year I was trying to come up with a voice for him, and for some reason I was doing a really good impression of Constantine, but I tried not make it sound like Constantine, so pretty much that's how I got much. And again, another non-original character I have, and this was something I made in middle school. During my middle school days, I used to be obsessed with a show called Crash and Bernstein, and I decided to make for some reason I decided, hey, why not have my own replica of Crash? So I did. So I forgive me for saying this, but I was teamed up with somebody. I teamed up with a woman who makes puppets, and she helped me make my own Crash replica. And I think again, I think that was the first time I built my own puppet, and I think it's been a couple years now since I've actually built one. But I think once I start to get back to learning how to sew and watch routines how to build a puppet, maybe I might get some ideas to make my own original character.
Right, which by the way, I have seen your Crash replica, and you pretty much got me with the nostalgia factor because I loved Crash and Bernstein as well. Then and that show came about when I was in high school. So I'm the school that I went to, a lot of them, they thought they were too old for Disney or animated shows or puppet shows. Me, my heart stays pure. Anyway.
I'm like, I don't care. I'm like, exactly. For young boys, but I'm pretty sure there's some females who do watch Crash and Bernstein, and I personally think it's really funny.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And not to mention, I hope I'm not going too long on this, but I'll keep it short. It's also the fact that last year I was able to meet up virtually with Tim Lagasse, who was Crash, and I was showing him my puppet. He was stunned, and it was just an honor to talk to these people like him, like I grew up with when I was middle school, when I was really young. But yeah, he was very kind, and I personally will never forget that moment. It'll always bring me middle school memories.
Yep. And so moving on with Olivia. So you also have a number of characters that you've created. We touched on Mia, but you also have some other characters. One which is a rabbit. Forgive me because I forgot his name, but
Rain.
Rain the rabbit, right? So, we've discussed with Mia, but go ahead and explain and describe how you went about creating your characters.
So, I'll briefly go over Mia again because she was my first. I just immediately decided I want it. So I went through an entire 2 pages of my sketchbook, sketching out just random character designs. And as I was sketching, I'm thinking, do I want an animal? So I start sketching a bunch of different animals, and I draw a mouse, and I'm like, bunny? So then I sketch a bunny, and I'm like, I kind of like that. I'm going to save that for later, but no. And then I keep going, and I eventually get to this little fairy that kind of looks like Abby Cadabby, and I'm like, I like the concept of a little girl. And so I ended up taking off the wings and taking off her long hair and putting it in pigtails. And I was like, yep, this is exactly it. She took me a month and a half to build, but after she was finished, oh my gosh, I was so happy with her. After a few modifications, she looked really nice over the months. She is basically just the side of me that really just adores people, adores everyone, adores how everybody can come together and be beautiful people. She's also got a lot of curiosity to her, and I admire that in her. And she's a very, very sweet character that can bring comfort and love in times of sad feelings. And she's also just a character that is very cute, and that's one of her things, is that she knows how adorable she is. She knows how adorable everybody else is, and her thought of seeing the goodness in everybody is also her saying, I see everybody as adorable. If you're good, you're adorable, and I love you. And I always thought that was a funny character to play off of, because I just find everybody so lovely. And then, completely different, after I get the cute, wholesome, innocent 4-year-old character out of the way, Rain. Rain is the side of me that doesn't like to follow rules. I never have taken an art class, and the one time that I did, I hated it, because I don't like it when people tell me what to do. So, Rain was sort of the weird NSFW, crazy, spontaneous side of me. And I love playing characters like that because it's so much fun to do. It's a way that you can just get everything out of you and just say whatever, just do whatever, and
right.
Be as disgusting or hilarious as you want to be. And Rain is a favorite amongst my group. They definitely provoke some laughs, and I love that. Tad is just a little 7-year-old boy. He's very scared about a bunch of things, and he's also kind of growing in different ways. So he's learning how to stand up for himself. He's learning what different things are, and that's his thing, is his curiosity, and somehow sometimes how he's so sometimes he's not the smartest, and that's a funny joke that we get to play off of, because he can act stupid sometimes, and it's really funny. Beastly's another good one. He's another favorite of mine for everybody when they watch me. He's the side of me that can get defensive. It is also the side of me that likes playing characters who have depth, and he's the side of me who wants love, and just wants love as much as I love everybody else. And also just because he's straight up adorable and hilarious. Dizzy, who I just got a month ago, she's a caretaker to the 2 children in my group. She's a rag doll, and her thing is that she likes fun. She likes playing. She thinks that it's important, and she thinks that it's fundamental. And then on the complete opposite side is my little bookworm character, Witty, who thinks that everything education is only fundamental, and that should be the only thing that you are focusing on. So they balance out nicely. And 3 other characters are in the making right now. They'll be here soon, hopefully, and then I can start a little series up eventually and get everybody in it. That's kind of where I am right now with all of my characters and everything that I'm doing.
Amazing. And also just hearing the not only the process, but also the the counter opposites of your characters that you tend to play. Rain, I have to say, he is the most hilarious, say whatever you want character I've ever seen, and it's also because, you know, we all have that feeling of, oh my gosh, I wish I could just say this one thing, but I can't. And so whenever you create your own character that is allowed to say those things that you would never say, it's kind of freeing in a way.
And the funniest part is that when I want to use her in other places, like, for example, like on our good friend Nate or Donk and Friends' live streams, who Rain and Donk are friends, and so they work well together. When I cannot be as explicit or as out there as I want, I find ways to break the rules anyways and add in references or whatever I want to do, and it somehow gets past the radar. And so no matter what, that character is going to be explicit. You cannot escape it. If you don't want Rain in your show, don't have Rain in your show, because no matter what happens, no matter how PG you are, there's going to be some slips.
That's one of the other things, is that, you know, you created a character that's rebellious. You created... He's very rebellious. And also that, you know, you as a creator and performer, you're committed for him to be rebellious. For him to be like, look, her. My mistake, folks. Take two. You're committed for him... take three. I know Rain.
The puppets talking blooper reel.
I know Rain is a girl. Okay, we will just end it at that. So, moving right along. You forgot this one. What? Okay. The way. Thank God this is unedited, because, you know, you get to hear, you know, how much fun we're having, folks.
Oh yeah.
Maybe you should have planned this better on your handy dandy notebook there, Marcelo.
Stop with the handy dandy notebook.
He has a handy dandy notebook. He's got a little checklist that he's scribbling down things on. I've got to make handy dandy notebook jokes. It's just going to happen here, folks.
It's usually improvised. It's improvised. Okay. So, but, you know, again, in all seriousness, you know, just the heavy commitment of, you know, of that character being very rebellious, you know, saying, screw you, this is how I'm doing it, and, you know, no one's gonna stop me. I love that very much. And
of course, I never try to do anything hurtful.
Right.
Because when it gets hurtful, or when it gets mean, in a sense where it's overboard, it's not funny for anyone. And so once it stops being jokes and it starts being attacks, it's not funny anymore. Exactly. So I would never do anything outside of that radar. And if I ever did, I would fix it right away. But I still like the fact that I can go overboard in a sense where it's still funny for everybody in a sense, and it's not going crazy. And it's not hurting anybody. And if it is, I will always try to find a best way to fix it without watering down or sugarcoating a character. Because that's a thing that I really don't like that puppeteers or like anybody in the character making business will try to do. Sometimes characters are made to be explicit to the point where they are offensive. That's not personally me, but when it is that sort of an adult show, I don't like it when something actually does get hurtful, but they decide not to fix it. They just decide to water a character down or take them completely out. Alix can go on a rant for 4 hours about what I'm talking about, but
I do know what you're talking about, and
yeah,
it happened last week, and it was just tragic.
Especially when it's not even something that people are doing wrong. It's just that people don't like it in general. And even when it's not hurtful and people start getting like heavy on something that doesn't need to be fixed, that's the point where you can't please everybody, and you just got to keep going with what you're doing. If you know in yourself and other people that actually do care know in themselves and yourself that you're not actually being hurtful and you just can't please every single crowd, that's all you got to worry about. But at the same time, when it gets too hurtful, there's a time and a place, and there's also like a flag or sort of a mark where if you go over the line, it's not funny anymore, and you could lose a lot of respect for yourself, and other people could lose respect for you. So you just always got to be careful when you have characters like that. But I also like being able to experiment with how far I can go without going over that line, but still being funny for everyone.
Take note, people. Take note, because you're gonna get quizzed on this later. Not really. So, and with that, I 100% agree, and it's all in a matter of just don't water it down. Don't water down a character. Don't try to like sugarcoat it or try to like switch it around or take it out, because that's not going to solve the problem. Just try to fix it. Keep the character. Try to fix it, and then just move on.
Exactly. I mean, many popular characters have gone through some really edgy phases, and all they needed was a quick fix, and then they were good to go. But it doesn't help when you water down a character or make them more kid-friendly or something like that, to the point where it's just, that's even less funny.
Folks, there's a rant that I have shared with multiple friends of mine about this, but we're not going to talk about it right now, because then I would end up in flames with heavy smoke just pouring out of the brain. But
blowing smoke out your ears. Kind of cartoon stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But in terms of characters that you guys have created, now, of course, we all have a favorite character that's either in the world of Muppets or non-Muppet characters, but still puppet characters. So, for you guys, Alix, I'm going to start with you. One, what's your most favorite Muppet character, whether it's like Sesame Street or Muppet or the Muppet Show, Fraggle Rock, anything like that, and also a two-parter. What's your most favorite non-Henson puppet character?
Ooh, that is a lot to explain because I got more than one Muppet character. But I don't know. But first, I think for now, I think I would say Little Jerry, because growing up, when I first discovered Little Jerry, even though they're obscure, that was when I first discovered them in like this Mary Had a Bicycle sketch, which I only saw the background singers, not the lead singer. That was before that. And then when I discovered one of their songs, which was Tell for Rock, I thought it was a really catchy song, and I like the three background singers looked familiar to my eye. I'm like, that's the whole group. And I'm like, I liked it. And I really liked the song. And then when I was online, I discovered more of their songs, and like, I really got into them. And then I remember that my older sister made me a little story about us in a form of like little creatures as animals. And we were just having a good time. And then I somehow was feeling down because I think I fell into like mud or something, or just sad about something. I don't know what that was, Aaron. But I remember at the end of the story, she wanted to surprise me, and she took me downstairs in my basement, which I am right now, and that was Little Jerry and the Monsters in my basement. That didn't really happen. That was in the story. But yeah, for some reason, that will be a memory that I'll remember in my heart, because, I wouldn't imagine, if I was a whole Geno mode if they were playing my basement. But yeah, I think, and that group, for some reason, and I personally like rock. And I think that obscure characters like Little Jerry should be more appreciated, because I think, like, who wants to hear a song about a feeling in a rock and roll style, or like 80s rock?
Exactly.
I think that would be the kind of show. We need more of the Monsters, people. Come on.
Not that.
Not only that, but I'm sorry, I'm gonna go on, but real quick, but not only that, but I was lucky enough to meet up in person with Christopher Surf and having a virtual meetup with Alison Bartlett, I think I said it right, who was Gina. Meeting those two feels honored because Gina, I feel like Gina made me the crazy monotone bit because I think I might be her like her twin sister or something. Well, not twin sister, but you get the point. But yeah, I would never forget the moments I met those two. And Christopher Surf was a very generous. He was very sweet, and it was just honored like meeting those two people, and just seeing him perform perform a song live and all that. It feels special to me.
Nice. So Olivia, same question for you. Like, whether we're talking about Sesame Street characters or like Sesame Street, Muppet Show, Fraggle Rock type characters, which one is your favorite? And also, if you have, if you have a favorite non-Henson character but that's also within the puppet world.
My favorites are definitely, for Sesame Street, it's always been the Count. It has been since I was super little. I loved him, and I still do. In Fraggle Rock, it's Wembley. I love Wembley. He's adorable, and I relate to him a lot. And for the Muppet Show, I will always and forever stand by this, Ralph the dog. I love him so much. It hurts to see him fading into obscurity, like Alix is talking about. There are those obscure characters that you can't help but love, but they were pushed away or retired, or they are barely seen anymore, to the point where nobody knows who they are, or people are losing interest in them. And I fear that that's going to happen with Ralph, because he turned it from like some sort of like emotional, happy, heartfelt, like sympathetic, down-to-earth guy to just, hey, I drink beer and play the piano, and then that's it.
and also he's one of the guys that helped get things off the ground.
Exactly. Oh yeah, because when Jim Henson was starting his early work, Ralph was the first character that was technically a Muppet. Even though he had puppets before Ralph was the first one to be called a Muppet. So he also holds a special place in my heart just because of the history that he was able to start, and the fact that he also sort of pushed Kermit to where he was. As for my favorite non-Muppet puppets, two really, really different ones. First one is Daniel Tiger from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. I love him so much, and I love the calm, sweet, but a shy feeling that Daniel gave, because there's so much that you could relate with him to, because he was that sympathetic, sweet, cowardly character, and you just had to feel bad for him or love him in some sort of way, and he really helped guide and sort of set the tone for that very calm, sweet children's show. And then, the other one, my other favorite, Rod from Avenue Q, two totally different ones.
Yeah. You got me on that.
I love them both.
You got me on that one, because I love Avenue Q with the passion.
Oh, I love Avenue Q.
Yes.
So I remember, I'll go back on topic for a second, but I remember Avenue Q was the first Broadway show that I ever went to go see. When I was...
Oh, really?
Yeah, when I was 12 years old. And then, that's also what got me into puppets. To, just doing that traditional style. And so I remember I went to go see the show when I was 12, when it was still on Broadway, and then they moved off Broadway. And a friend of mine, he took me to this thing called Broadway in Bryant Park, and the cast of Avenue Q was there. So all the puppet characters were there. And I went up, I saw Nikki and Rod, and I got a picture with them, and I was, like many of us, we just talked to the puppets. We don't even acknowledge the puppeteers behind them. And I just told them, I said, guys, Avenue Q is a really hilarious show. It's actually the first show that I ever saw on Broadway when I was 12 years old. So, I just want to say thanks for, the laughs and the joy. And those two were those two characters were just so sympathetic, so very kind-hearted, and, very very welcoming, as well as the performers in the back. But just meeting these characters, up close and in person, it's always a joy. So, and plus I got the chance to see Avenue Q the second to last time right before it closed off Broadway. So, yeah, a buddy of mine, after I showed Avenue Q to my friend, he said, "You know what? I've never seen the full musical. How about we go see it before, it goes, before it leaves Broadway forever?" I said, "All right, sure. I mean, this will be my second time that I've seen Avenue Q in years." What was even more cool is that because he's been to Broadway so many times, he's actually had the chance to meet the cast, like, backstage. And
awesome.
Yeah, and I got the chance.
So cool, man.
Yeah, I never got to meet the puppets, but I got the chance to meet the performers that were in the show. So that was a pretty cool way to to see Avenue Q one last time before it left Broadway forever. Bring it back.
Bring it back.
Marcelo, I just realized I forgot to answer your second question when you asked me my non-favorite Henson puppet.
Oh, yeah.
But I'll make it short. And I think internet puppets count as non-Henson puppets. Will that work?
No, yeah, they do.
But okay, well, I'll try to make it quick though. Well, you probably know what I'm gonna say, but I think my favorite non-Henson character would have to be Latanga, of course, from the YouTube channel called Fluffy Friends. If you guys don't know, for those who don't know, I have been a follower of a huge, their biggest fan for like almost 6 to 7 years now, and I think they have been nicknaming me Queen Fluffy because I've been making a lot of fan art for them. But for Latanga, I personally just love, I just really love her content and her personality. And not only does she have the most funniest videos in her videos, the most funniest the content in her videos is hilarious. Right. But not only that, but they always love to give you positive energy, like meaning that whenever you're going through like tough times, like what we've gone through last year, they always want to give you like more good energy to like help you keep going. Not like not stay in the negative side of the things and help you stay on the positive side of things. Like, for example, she gave us a little series called The Good Stuff, and it showed us like heartwarming videos and all that. And I remember her like on Facebook reading like she was talking about like mental health and how important it is and all that. And she's just very kind and generous, and not only that, but the creator himself, like, he's very hardworking. He's very talented at his content is made. He does really well with his videos, and I appreciate them so much. And getting all these feedbacks from them, it just feels honored and being their biggest fan. But it's just really honored to be their biggest fan, and I can't wait. Once but I'm still hoping that once Lataka returns from Mars, she can return in the show once they get time to get back to what they do and all that.
Well, I'm pretty sure she will be returning from Mars soon, as she's listening to this podcast right now. So there is a little hope. There's a little hope for that. And of course, Mr. Bingel. In terms of of course you've heard the question, so I don't need to repeat myself.
Favorite Muppet. In terms of Sesame Street, there are a lot. I must start on Fraggle Rock. I also love Wembley because I can relate to him as well. I can absolutely relate to Wembley. Like, sometimes I can't make decisions.
I know.
I know what that's like. But I definitely relate to Wembley the most out of all of them. I mean, they're great characters, but I mostly relate to Wembley. In terms of Sesame Street, there's a lot of really good ones, but I honestly love the Count as well, because I've had a lot of numbers ever since I was a little kid, and he's just always been my favorite. Let's see, we haven't talked Bear much. In terms of Bear, I love Bear. He's kind of like the Mr. Rogers of the puppet world, because he's always so inviting and just so heartwarming. Again, we mentioned
so right.
Yep.
He doesn't, we touched on this earlier. He's not watering down anything. Like, it's not, sure, it's a kid show, but watered down to the point where it's not out there, you know? Like,
yeah.
You're right. Nothing in that show was watered down at all. Not
Nope.
even the bathroom episode, unfortunately.
not even the best episode, unfortunately.
I love how like Bear is not only just like just like an average kid show, but they always like like get into like go into like serious situations like what happened at Women Valley and having a homeless in their house, those stuff. Like they always like give you like what goes on in like in the real world, like in a more friendlier way, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Because kids, they're young, they're very young, they're still adapting to the real world. And
wow. It never came to me. I never grasped the concept that children are very young. Thanks, Matt. It took me some time, but after hearing that powerful message, it really came to me.
Years later, we have finally received it. Yes, thank you, Matt.
No, they're still learning about the real world and, what goes on and whatnot. I mean, none of us expected a pandemic, but what can you do? But, again, nothing was watered down in Bear. Even the bathroom episode at the end of season 2.
Yeah.
Nothing. And
That's hard to hear.
No, but
mental scars.
no, yeah, but with that one, Matt, I can definitely agree because, out of all the shows, Henson shows that I've grown up watching and loving and holding near and dear to my heart, the one that always lights the spark of nostalgia has always been and will always forever will be Bear in the Big Blue House.
Absolutely. Bear was a favorite of mine growing up, and always will forever be in my heart.
Yep.
Always.
Oh, also, Matt, we didn't get the chance to hear about your favorite non-Henson and non-Muppet related puppet character.
Well, for those that know me, you know where this is going.
Oh,
You know where this is going. Yeah.
No, please share.
Brace yourselves, take cover!
I'm not gonna go that long, but favorite non-Muppet has got to be the feathered flock at Bird Call. For those who don't know what Bird Call is, it's a group of birds who run a radio station. But the reason I love Bird Call so much, it's not because I'm a huge fan, which I am. I love them because of the way they play off of each other. They're all different species. It's not like the Muppet Penguins or one species. They have a whole bunch of them. No, they're all different, and they all have very unique personalities that they play off of. And I think that's great. I think that's what like a group of puppeters really need in order for something like that to be successful. You need characters to play off of.
Yep.
Not only do they play off of each other, but they also play on blocks.
Oh, stop.
Oh.
Joke for you there, ladies and gentlemen.
It's an inside joke.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, inside joke we have.
Inside
Yep.
joke.
And you heard it here tonight. Well, guys, what can I say? Every episode I've done with this podcast, I've had a lot of laughs, heard a lot of stories, and also just hearing so many creative insights to how you guys go about creating your stuff. But before we wrap it up, and we may need to make this really quick, the last thing I have for you guys, right before we leave, is favorite Muppet moments. Now, I'm sure we've all had a number one favorite moment, or many moments from the Muppets, but in terms of time consuming, we may need to choose only one. So, for you guys, what is your most number one favorite Muppet moment? And I'm gonna start with Alix.
I wouldn't say favorite. I do have a ton, but I would say like all the Muppet performers themselves, like the just me and like people that I grew up with mostly. Like I met Noah McNeil, Leslie Kara Rudolph, and just I met like Cheryl Henson and all those people. And Marcel, I think you know. I think we met up with. Oh my God, when we went. Oh my God, I'm gonna cry. When we went to the Iron Bickler screening, and I had no clue that this person was here, but and I'm forgetting how to say her name again, but Carmen Osborne?
Yes, Carmen Osborne, who plays Rosita on Sesame Street.
It didn't say that she was going to be there, and I'm just like sitting on stage waiting for the show to start, and then I see her come out, I'm like, is that Rosita? And I'm like, oh my God, it was so touching. And then the minute I hear her voice, she didn't have the character, but hearing Rosita's voice, I was gonna cry. I personally love Rosita. I mean, I wouldn't imagine like seeing the public. I mean, but yeah, just meeting those people like you grew up with, it feels honored, and I'm hoping that once this pandemic ends, I'm going to do that again soon because it's definitely on my bucket list.
Absolutely. Matt, same question goes for you.
I've also had a lot of things I've wanted to do. In terms of Muppet projects, my favorite moment would have to be when Kermit rides the bicycle in the Muppet movie. Just how amazing it looked. And keep in mind, folks, this was 1979. They didn't have the technology that we do today.
Allow me to say this. No CGI in 1979.
No French gizmos and gadgets that you don't have nowadays.
Wait, no what, Richard? Anyway,
not even those remote controls that they used when Elmo was at the tricycle during the pre-opening of the Macy's parade.
Yes.
I don't know how long ago. It was a few years ago, and there was one behind. There was one behind the scenes that they had a little remote control, which was cool, but nowhere near Kermit riding a bicycle because that was, let's face it, way ahead of its time.
Exactly.
Like it really was.
Amen.
It really was.
Yeah.
And like Alex said, I've also had the pleasure of meeting Noel McNeil virtually. I've always wanted to go to some of these conventions. Like, there's one in Philadelphia I wanted to go to for a few years now. There's one in Virginia. There's a bunch of them out there, and it's something I really wanted to do. So
awesome.
That's definitely on my bucket list as well.
Here's hoping once the world comes back to normal. And also, wrapping up with Olivia, favorite Muppet moment.
So, this one is from Fraggle Rock, and whenever I think about this moment, I always start breaking down to tears. The entire ending of Changing a Dress.
Yes.
And just the entire, like the song, Friends Always Say Goodbye, that tore me apart, but as in terms of moments, when Doc was feeling sad that he would have to, spoilers by the way, spoilers ladies and gentlemen, when Doc was feeling sad because Ned Schimmelfinney had to move away for his asthma, and Gobo touched his hand and he could finally see him, that was really emotional for me. And then at the end, when they imagined that there was a Fraggle hole, and really the Fraggles came out, and Gobo reunited with Doc again. I've always found that amazing because that entrails that at the end of Fraggle Rock, Doc, Gobo, and all the other characters traveled the desert together. That really entrails that and shows that the Fraggles will start to learn about human things and other things. It was an amazing ending to a series that could always be branched off of more, and that is a moment that I always cry when I think about because of just how much I love it.
That and also, when they're going through the tunnel and the song Magic Be With You starts to play. That's...
Yes.
I heard that the first time. I just couldn't... I heard that the first time, and I see all my artwork and thinking back to the things that's happened in my life. It always, it just hits me with a tear every time. It's...
Yep.
And so, with that, ladies and gentlemen, we have come down to the end of another one. But before we go, I'd like to thank my guests, Alix, Olivia, and Matt Bingel for joining me today on a new episode of Muppet Fans Talking. Guys, thanks so much for joining me.
It was amazing to be on.
This was a pleasure.
Yeah,
I enjoyed being in this podcast with you, and it's
and also one more thing before we get going. Where can people find you guys on any form of social media out there in the known universe?
Well, you can find me on Instagram at Alix the Fluffy Hammer Lover 3114. Same thing on TikTok where I post a few TikToks here and there. Same username, but it's kind of shortened down for some reason. But yeah, I think those are the only two means you can find me on there. And yeah, you'll probably see some of my content, like Muppet related stuff, or like fandom of Fluffy Friends, or just like certain artwork in general, or some of my puppeteering. And maybe a bit of live streams. I've also been doing like a highlight series of all the funny moments we've done. I've been going live with a bunch of friends of mine, including you guys, and we always have the most funniest moments. Since this is the new IDG live stream filter with you can add two more people. Like you can add 3 people on your live stream, and we always have the most funniest moments. And I figured, why not put the highlighted series, like put a few clips in like a whole compilation. So,
nice.
So if y'all need a good laugh, that is for you.
Noted and done. And of course, Mr. Bingel, where can people find you?
I'm pretty much everywhere. I am on YouTube at Bingel Productions, and we also have
they're multiplying.
Well, this was fun. We also have a new channel coming out later this summer just for our puppetry work, title pending. But there will be a new YouTube channel just for our poetry work later this summer. I am also on Instagram. I do a live show every week at Devin Bingel. The last name is spelled Bingel. Please get it right for the love of God.
It's a B, not a P.
And the last name is E. This was fun.
Yes, it
I'm
has.
also on
Let him finish.
Another inside joke. I am also on TikTok at Bingel2000. Again, that's Bingel. A lot of people spell it wrong. That's why I have to spell it out this way. It's just not my last.
Bingel.
And of course, getting down to Miss Giggly Pants, Miss Olivia.
Hi, kids. This was a fun life. Okay, this is my term. This is a fun. No, okay. Y'all can find me. I am Olivia Arts with 3 S's on TikTok. On Instagram as of now, because I'm having a little bit of an issue lately where either somebody really does not like me on Instagram or Instagram really does not like me, where I keep getting banned. So right now I am Olivia Likes Puppets. That might change because Instagram or somebody doesn't like me. And the last place that where you can really find me is Olivia Arts with 1 S on Tumblr. I don't really post there as often. I post just basically a bunch of my artwork, like digital drawings, etc., on that page on Tumblr. You can find me there if you'd like. If you want to see some stuff there, it will be more active in the summer. And that's all I got for you guys.
Wonderful. So, again, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank Alix, Matt, and Olivia for joining me today on this new episode of Muppet Fans Talking. We'll see you guys next time.